I'm Dorothy Vicary. I'm a volunteer here at the Vicary house, and I'm also a master gardener. Our first plant was the feverfew. Feverfew belongs to the chrysanthemum family. It was used in earlier times for disinfection, for reducing swelling, and nowadays it has become a name for helping with migraine headaches. Our next plant is the soapworth. Soapworth was used in earlier times for making soap. It is a very mild soap, and it was used especially for delicate fabrics and for lacing. In modern times we use it for people who have allergic reaction to the manufactured soap. This soap is tolerated by a lot of people. It was also used as a laxative. Next plant, a gray plant, that is sage. Sage we nowadays use as a kitchen herb. It's very familiar with our turkey at Thanksgiving, and flavor, but it also reduces gas buildup in the stomach. But in earlier times it was mainly used for helping with respiratory problems such as cold, cough, and sore throats. Plant is hyssop. Hyssop is used in earlier times. It is used for coughs. In addition to that, it was also used for gallbladder problems, for kidney problems, and especially for high blood pressure. Plant is savory. Savory is used in the kitchen for people who are on saltless diets. It gives a good flavor. It was also used for infections and to increase the appetite. Good King Henry. Good King Henry is actually a vegetable, but it was helpful, very helpful for vitamin C deficiency and iron deficiency. Wormwood or Artemisia is what the name says. It was used for, and still might be used for, expelling intestinal parasites and worms. I think we have to remember that at that time refrigeration was not available, and people might often have used food that was probably not quite fresh anymore. Also, the hygiene, people didn't wash their hands as often, had very much contact with animals, so intestinal parasites or worms were probably of frequent occurrence in their daily life. Plant is lavender. Lavender is used for, was known for its beauty and for its fragrance, and even nowadays it is a big part of our perfume and cosmetic industry. But it was also used as a sedative, and it was believed if a young lady put a lavender sachet or lavender flowers under her pillowcases and she dreamed from the young man, that would come true. Plant is echinacea. Echinacea was a plant that was used by the Indians. It is a plant that's native here to the United States. The Indians used it in variety, from wound healing to bone fractures, as a disinfectant, and it is known nowadays that it also has an antiviral property. So some of the belief that the Indian had is probably true. They used it for snake bites. There is a folklore, and I do not know if it's substantiated, but I read a story when a German doctor went and lived with the Indians for many years. He read about echinacea, and finally he went for a association and claimed that he would let himself be bitten by a rattlesnake, and he would cure himself with only echinacea. I hope it was true. He apparently lived, and I don't know if this is the folklore, but he lived. Echinacea still didn't make much inroad in the United States. It became very famous, however, in Europe, and only in the next 20 years it has been coming back to the United States. Lamb's ear. Lamb's ear really does not have nowadays much of a name for wound healing or for in general as a herb. However, in the Civil War, lamb's ear was used as a coverage for if they run out of material, and the soldiers used it for ill-fitting shoes or boots to prevent or even help with blisters, because lamb's ear is very soft and very pliable. There's a plant, it's called bedstraw, ladies' bedstraw. And bedstraw, the plant itself was used already by the Greeks and Romans to make the milk curd for cheese production. And the root itself is used, or can be used, as a dye. It produces a very rare red dye, and the flowers itself produce a yellow dye. Nowadays the name, I would like to refer to the name as ladies' bedstraw, and the reason for that might be that when the plant's dry, it becomes not brittle, it stays soft and pliable. However, this plant is not very productive, so whenever the plant was used for mattress stuffing or for chair upholstery, the ladies' mattress was stuffed with bed straw. The men still use straw for their stuffing. Comfrey is another plant that was used extensively in olden times. It is also coming back lately, and especially is wound healing for infections, as a poultry for open wounds, sores and ulcers, and also for bone healing. Word that is now a common weed on our waysides. It might have initially escaped our gardens and now became naturalized. It is a stimulant, it is also a disinfectant, and it is also a tonic. Thyme is of course very known as a kitchen herb, and it improves the flavor of our foods, but it is also an antiseptic. It is also used often in conjunction with sage and hyssop for colds and respiratory problems. Yarrow again is used for respiratory problems. It is also used for toothache, because the Indians used to chew yarrow leaves for the toothache to get rid of the pain. And of course it is also used as it stops bleeding. There's rosemary. Rosemary is a very pretty plant. It's unfortunately not winter hardy, but the rosemary is used nowadays mainly in the cosmetic and perfume production. But it has the reputation that it can improve our memories. And it is known that in olden times, when the Greek scholars went for their examination, that the scholars put a garland of rosemaries around the head or the neck that would help them with the exam problems. Ladies' mantle. Ladies' mantle was used mainly for female problems during a menstrual cycle, through menopause, and also during childbirth. Net, the diuretic and antiseptic nowadays that we found out what it really is good for. In earlier times it was also used for wound healing and for problems with digestions. Foxglove, this is a pretty flower, and we nowadays more or less enjoy their beauty. But foxglove was used since the early 1820s as a heart stabilizer, strengthens the heart, and to combat irregular heartbeat. Even nowadays it is used for that purposes. It's under the Latin name of digitalis, and people who have heart problems are probably quite familiar with that. Betony is used for a lot of things. It was used in earlier times. It had the reputation that it could destroy cataracts. It also was used against a stroke and also against bladder problems. And it is a mild sedative. In England, betony had a reputation that it would be good for almost everything. And if a young girl had a lot of virtues, it often was said she is as good as betony. This pretty flower, that is malva, that is also used for infection and especially for cold and for colds and for coughing. Rue is a stimulant. It helps with varicose veins. It is a laxative, but it is mainly, or was mainly, used as an insect repellent. Farmers whose cows and animals suffered for a lot with flies during the summer got out and brought big branches of rue and hang it in the rafters of the stable. That would help to reduce the fly problem. Of course, it doesn't completely eliminate, but it certainly reduces. It has a very strong flavor. We have valerian in the garden. Valerian is an old plant that has been used to improve sleep with people who have problems. It is a mild sedative, and it has for some people it has a pleasant odor, and mainly the roots were used for that purposes. Calendula, this pretty real flower that was used for dyeing, but it is also, again, was used as an anti-inflammatory plant. It was also used for varicose veins and for healing wounds. Cosmos is actually known under the name of Bible leaf, and the folklore it says that people who were afraid of falling asleep during the sermon often took a couple of leaves and put them in the Bible and chew them during the sermon to keep them awake. Lungworth is a plant that has been used even in modern times, and it aid for lung tuberculosis, for tuberculosis of the lungs. I worked with a medical doctor, and he was at one part I think the medical doctor here at the sanatorium where now Penn State is, and he told me that as he started, they still use lungworth. That's mainly what I have to say about herbs. We still try to improve and expand it as much as we can. We still need also to improve our knowledge about plants. We are in a process of making a little booklet that covers all the plants, especially, however, the origin of the plants. We want to find out more about it and the time period, as I said in the beginning.